Although the Beets family has a long history of wealth, none could have foreseen the deep emotional impact of what Mike Beets, in the end, abandoned. He quietly kept the family's gold mining company running for years, following in the footsteps of his renowned father, Tony Beets, the Cloned King. In the shadows of his very loud brothers Kevin and Monica, Mike quietly established a name for himself. After decades of battling for and winning mining claims, Tony Beets' fortune has grown to an estimated $15 million. When put in context, Mike's wealth is more akin to that of a miner's fortune than a tycoon's. However, statistics do not reveal all. Mike didn't spend his time in the merciless Yukon mining for gold alone. They dealt with modest legacies that would bring one last surprise, loyalty, and sacrifice, sufficient to move his loved ones to tears. From the time he was a little boy, Mike was involved in the Klondike Gold Rush, as he was born into a tenacious mining family. As the second youngest Beetle, he spent his formative years absorbing the craft. As early as the age of 13, Mike was toiling away in the freezing Yukon mornings, doing some of the claim's dirtiest and most physically taxing tasks. He quickly established himself as the go-to guy for big machines on the crew. If it was heavy and crucial to the operation, Mike was the man behind the wheel of everything from 40-ton cranes to giant Oshkosh trucks and multi-million-dollar wash facilities. The entire Beets enterprise at times literally depended on his efforts. Mike stayed on the ground and earned a miner's wage while Monica and Kevin carved out leadership roles that offered bigger revenues. He makes about $25,000 per episode, or about $500,000 for the entire season from his performances on Gold Rush. However, he earns most of his money by physical mining, which is very different from the enormous profits made by company managers. It's easy to see who Mike is by his way of life. He is unassuming, diligent, and unassuming. He stays out of the limelight, doesn't share details about his personal life, and doesn't have a public presence on social media. His followers are left to wonder if his real life is just as lonely as it seems on TV, since no information about a spouse or children has been made public. Mike has a surprising amount of interest in the Middle Ages outside of the mining industry. He goes to great lengths to participate in full-contact medieval fighting, donning a 60-pound suit of armor and entering arenas for actual sword fights. Nightly bouts are Mike's hobby, which combines discipline, skill, and risk in a manner similar to his day job, while the rest of his family spends their free time worrying about gold. Life as a miner hasn't been risk-free for Mike. Moving the $300,000 Kiwi wash facility from Paradise Hill to Dominion Creek was a particularly stressful undertaking for him. One of the securing chains snapped, sending the big equipment tumbling off the trailer, turning what should have been a normal haul into a catastrophe. The whole season was on the brink of disaster when the catastrophe happened. Mike skillfully guided a front-end loader to carefully raise and relocate the plant, while Tony swiftly assembled a recovery crew. The primary elements, miraculously, made it through. 8 long hours later, after double-checking the cargo, the crew finally steered the machine to its final destination. That Mike remained cool and collected under fire is impressive. The treacherous path to Indian River was the scene of yet another near-death experience. Operating a truck hauling big machinery. A wet slope caused Mike to lose control. His cousin Levin Beets was instrumental in getting the truck to slide perilously close to a cliff. Heavy tow chains were used to secure the vehicle, and it was then towed to a safe location. The gravity of Mike's role became clear in those times. When trouble is about to break out, he's usually the one who takes action. Mike is still vital to Paradise Hill's operations, even if Kevin is now in charge of his own claim and Monica is in charge of gold cleanups. He's responsible for keeping the wash plant stocked, the heavy machinery moving, and the season's most important moves executed without a hitch. Starting with moving heavy equipment across. Through thick and thin, Mike has kept the Beets family afloat through perilous terrain and unforgiving weather. Among Klondike's most prolific gold miners, The family's high-stakes return to Indian River after 4 years abroad is only one example of how his position has been particularly vital in large projects. A relocation that included transporting heavy equipment down perilous, isolated paths. Money and gold aren't the only measures of Mike Beets' wealth. The amount of time he has invested in the Beets empire. Something impermanent but invaluable has been established through the rescues, the long nights, the hazardous hauls, and the unwavering loyalty. Mike left behind more than just equipment, wages, and claim rights, according to family members. His unwavering commitment will live on in the legacy he left behind, demonstrating that true success does not always come from flashy schemes but from the steady accumulation of modest means. More than any quantity of money, it was this bequest that caused the Beets family to cry. Mike Beets has never been one to conform. If his previous choices are any indication, his next move will be equally remarkable. Would Mike Beets make a good Klondike mine head replacement? Mike Beets has been a silent force behind the scenes of the Beets mining enterprise for years, and Gold Rush enthusiasts have watched. Mike has taken a back seat to his siblings Monica and Kevin, who usually do the heavy lifting. Control, rather than command, should take center stage. Manages the transportation, controls the machinery, and oversees the core activities of Paradise Hills. Many are starting to worry if Mike will be the next one to run amok after watching Season 15 and Kevin's successful reign as a mine boss. Over the years, Kevin learned the ropes from Tony and progressively took on more responsibility, paving the way for his leadership role. In contrast, Mike has been orchestrating massive operations since he was a teenager. Large pieces of machinery. In a crisis, he can solve any problem with ease. From restoring a $300,000 wash plant that had fallen to preventing a lorry from careening off a Yukon mountain road, he has repeatedly demonstrated his mettle. Some would even go so far as to say that Mike has been acting as a mining boss for some time now. Without the formal title, he has been performing under the Beets label. No matter how big or little the task, the Beets family has always been fearless in taking on more. More leadership within the family is needed now that Kevin is effectively managing his own claim in Season 15 and Monica is still supervising crew coordination and gold cleanups. Tony has been a part of the industry for many years, but with his empire expanding into so many different claims, it's obvious that fresh managers are required to ensure everything runs well. Those are all positions that Mike could easily play. Because of his extensive background with the family's most valuable assets, the wash plants, trucks, and dozers, he has a thorough understanding of how a mine operates. Mike may differ from Kevin in his approach if he were to assume control of a claim. Kevin is a very analytical and systematic leader that places an emphasis on managing teams and meeting production goals. But Mike may be more of a hands-on leader who prefers to be in the trenches with his team than an aerial commander. His extensive technical knowledge and eagerness to get his hands filthy might win him the admiration of both seasoned miners and those just starting out in the industry. This ground-level approach could be a game-changer, particularly in the harsh Yukon environment, where agility and speed are frequently the deciding factors in achieving or failing to reach a season's gold target. Viewers could observe Mike assuming complete control, from hiring and supervising his own crew to setting goal targets and making the difficult decisions when whether machinery or manpower endangered production, in a season where he runs his own mine, provided Gold Rush continues to follow the Beets family's journey. Fans may see Mike's mine becoming among the most efficient in the Klondike, considering his history of performing well under pressure. In the face of adversity, he has previously demonstrated that he is more than capable of taking charge. Some of the show's most spectacular and lucrative payouts could be yours for the taking if you keep your cool and keep determined. Everything is set up for Mike Beets to take over as Mine Master, whether it comes next season or a few years from now. His family trusts him, and he has the necessary abilities and expertise. The only thing remaining is the chance. Chance encounters are not uncommon among the Beets, and with them, difficulties. The Yukon may have found its next great mind boss if Mike takes the challenge. One of the most intriguing changes in leadership that Gold Rush has ever seen may be on the horizon for viewers.